soccer is not just a game. Behind the spotlights, the monumental stadiums, and the millions of dollars, there is a dark machine that feeds on energy, souls, and sometimes blood. This is the real price, the sacrifice of a cursed World Cup. The tragic and strange death of Jaden at just 25 years old has raised alarms among those who dare to look beyond the official version. They told us it was depression. They told us he couldn't handle the loss of his grandmother during the tournament. But what if there's something much more sinister happening in the shadows of the 2026 World Cup? That damned June 24th, while millions of hypnotized souls watched the clash between Brazil and Scotland in Miami, the heart of Venezuela was violently torn apart. 6:04 in the afternoon, exactly 4 minutes after the kickoff. Just 2 minutes earlier, at 6:02, the cameras caught David Beckham holding a glass of red wine in the shadows. An image that seemed harmless at the time, but today unleashes absolute panic in the sinister prophecy of The Economist. The world ahead. 2026 as we uncover it. Month by month, June reveals a glass of red wine vibrating and spilling its blood, as if an invisible cataclysm were crushing it. And here bursts forth a cursed truth that has made thousands' blood run cold. The Venezuelan national team is nicknamed La Vino Tinto because of the color of their jersey. Pure chance or a hellish connection that carries an omen too dark to be ignored. But the horror goes back to 1990 at the World Cup in Italy. Brazil and Scotland shared the fateful Group C, facing each other on June 20th. That very day, an apocalyptic earthquake in Iran massacred more than 50,000 souls, burying them in one of the worst tragedies in history. Today, exactly 36 years later, Brazil and Scotland are once again tied together in Group C, meeting again in a World Cup. And once again, a brutal seismic catastrophe strikes during the tournament, but this time devastating Venezuela. Are we facing a monstrous chain of coincidences, or a cursed pattern that awakened minds look at with truly paralyzing terror? That's why don't you dare move until the end of this video. Let's dissect this enigma, step by step, to unearth a secret that will leave your heart completely cold. Think about this, a young athlete at the peak of his career, shining before the eyes of the world in Mexico City in front of thousands of people. And suddenly, in the middle of the tournament, the pillar of his family is abruptly taken away, as if fate or forces with much greater power demanded a tribute to allow him to step onto that sacred stage. The ritual has begun, and the masses applaud their own doom. Observe the geometry of subjugation, a cursed star-shaped stage that encloses a cold golden dome. Pure sorcery on broadcast TV. Look at their faces. Belinda appears to seal the pact. Their hands form the perfect triangle. The hidden mark of the Eye of Horus. It's not a trend. It's the symbolism that unites the elites. Do you still doubt it? Look at Lionel Messi's arm. The reptilian eye injected into his skin, watching every play. Rihanna repeats the sign, the pyramid of total submission. A supposed shaman invokes hidden forces over a replica of Teotihuacan, where blood and chaos have already claimed life. Nothing is a coincidence. Everything is a tribute to dark energy. Let's go back to the Colosseum. The golden idol rises. A monstrous hand holds the trophy. The masses scream, hypnotized by the monolith, golden, while the triangle repeats itself over and over again. The industry displays its puppets, say in the Amazonian choreography, and Shakira with a cold gaze like the high priestess of this global deception. Faces frozen in a hypnotic loop. The stadium glows with a spectral blue light. Ancient drums mark the pulse of your submission. Demonic creatures spin frenetically in a whirlwind of transmutation. The golden trophy is guarded by the initiates, while a woman walks toward the altar as a willing sacrifice. She celebrates her own damnation. The climax of horror has arrived. Look at the cup. The false golden glory begins to pour out, a thick, grim, cursed substance. A chalice bathed in the blood of the masses. The cup drowns in its own darkness. The real game was never soccer. The real game is your soul. They have already opened their third eye, and you are ready to awaken. It's not the first time that ultimate glory demands a blood price. The invisible strings that control. High-level soccer do not forgive. Those who control this global circus need perfect spectacles, but also sacrifices. Those who fuel the energy of the masses. Jayden Adams ran, fought, and gave everything on the field under inhuman pressure, carrying a darkness that wasn't his own, but belonged to the altar on which he was playing. Was it really his own decision? Or was he pushed into the abyss by forces beyond our understanding? The official reports always close these cases quickly with simple explanations, as if trying to sweep the truth under the rug of oblivion. So the show, but the soccer players, union and the government of his country know that the loss is too strange, too perfect in its tragedy. The 2026 World Cup already bears the mark of blood. While corporations celebrate the profits and the trophy shines under the spotlights, a family mourns and the soccer world prefers to look the other way to avoid asking uncomfortable questions. Rest in peace, Jaden Adams. Your name was engraved in the history of your nation and your soul, trapped on the altar of the darkest tournament of all time.
Thank you. Mexico's elimination from the World Cup should not let us forget the tragedy that happened while we were distracted and celebrating the national team's victory. The death of 4 fans during the celebrations in Mexico City. Celebrations organized, promoted, and funded by the government led by Clara Brugada. After the national team's first victory, it became very clear to her that she needed to ride that wave to somehow try to change the public conversation. Soccer served as the perfect distraction from her unfinished projects, cosmetic fixes, and the very poor planning of infrastructure for the World Cup. And of course, the problem isn't that people were happy. On the contrary, they were enjoying the streets in a way they rarely get to. The point is that citizens should have been able to do so with the certainty that their authorities, the same ones who invested and massively invited everyone to celebrate in the streets and attend these events, would guarantee at least minimal safety and order. We didn't expect so many people to show up, said the head of civil protection in the city a little later. That's frankly an untenable argument for an administration that covered Paseo de la Reforma and other avenues with giant screens and massive invitations. It's true that there are risks at any mass event, but Brugada's administration neglected its first and most basic duty, which is to enforce the law and guarantee public order. To prove this, here's a small example. At every single celebration for the national team, including the one where this tragedy happened, you only had to walk a few meters to find alcohol being sold indiscriminately on the streets. Even at 10 in the morning, the day after this tragedy, right on Paseo de la Reforma, there were dozens of fans drinking alcohol in public under the passive gaze of the police. And there, in the permissiveness and disorder tolerated by Brugada's administration, the official priority is fully revealed, maintaining this narrative of success at any cost, even at the expense of upholding the law. Citizens must demand an independent investigation into the deaths of these 4 people, and a clear and transparent explanation of the actions taken by the officials who were in charge of making decisions that night. Mexico City must learn from what happened, just as it has learned from other tragedies, and never allow something like this to happen again.